she's so fine. Hell of a blows my mind. Hell of a lights my day.
What's good, guys? Today is Saturday, August the 6th, 2022. I wanted to do an update on the story of the 7-year-old Troy Khoeler, who was found in the washing machine at the home of his adoptive parents. I covered it once briefly, but I want to go ahead and update this story. Now, this is as good a place to start as any. This is a picture of 7-year-old Troy Khoeler, who was found in the top-loading washing machine in the home that he shared with his adoptive parents. Now, the constables from Harris County are the ones that responded to this incident, and they responded initially to a report of a missing child. Now, this is the tweet from Mark Herman, who is the constable for Harris County. This was on July the 28th. It says, "Now, missing 7-year-old child, 4400 block of Rosegate Drive, Burnhamwood subdivision, Troy Khoeler. He was last seen wearing a blue shirt and pants, has a small afro hairstyle. He has been missing for approximately 2 to 3 hours." And then he included 2 pictures of Troy Khoeler. So once the constables responded to the scene in Burnhamwood subdivision, they were initially looking for Troy Khoeler, reported as missing. So they get to the home, and at the home are Troy Khoeler's adopted parents. Now, they adopted him in 2019. So he's been with them since 2019. And that's a picture of Tiffany and Jermaine Thomas, who are Troy Khoeler's adopted parents. And that's the day they adopted him, and that is the judge. So they adopted him on November the 23rd of 2019. Also on that day, Jermaine Thomas, Troy Khoeler's new adopted dad, posted these photos. He's a Thomas now, so proud. And the Harris County Homicide Department eventually responded to the scene, and they didn't have much information about the adoption at all, other than they believed he was adopted. He was a foster child who was then adopted in 2019 by the Thomas family. Now, this is the detective that did the press conference, if you would call it that. And what he said during that press conference is that they responded to a missing person call at 5:20 a.m. after the parents, Tiffany and Jermaine Thomas, could not locate their 7-year-old adopted son. Now, and this is a picture of their home in the Burnhamwood subdivision. This is where the constables responded. This is also where the Harris County Homicide Division responded as well. Now, the detective went on to say during this press conference that Troy was possibly missing since 4 a.m. Constables responded, and something they saw made them search the house. Now, this was also after they had canvassed the neighborhood. So they had canvassed the neighborhood and had no luck trying to find Troy, and they went back to the house. Something they saw made them search the home. When he was questioned by reporters about that, he went on to say that he believed it was then their protocol to do that, but he didn't elaborate any further on what they saw that would make them want to search the house. Constables then found 7-year-old Troy Khoeler deceased in the washing machine in the family's garage. At that point, the house was secured, and the Harris County Sheriff's Homicide Division unit was called. He then explained that it is protocol for them to separate the parents, take them downtown, and talk to them in an environment that's not so volatile. So this is them walking the mother separately. That's another picture of her once they placed her in the car, the constables. This is them walking the father separately to a different car so that he could then be transported to the office and be talked to or questioned. You can see just from the expressions on the constables in this photo right here, just how sad the scene was. They're obviously shook up. Obviously. The detective went on to say that there was not a lot of history at the house that they could find in regards to, I'm assuming, because this is the way he said it, as far as CPS or as far as the police, I guess, is concerned, not necessarily CPS, but as far as, I guess, police reports or calls to 911. He also said this was an open and active investigation and that he didn't know what had happened, but they sure intended to find out. When he was speaking about what made them look in the house, the constables, and said, that he thought that was part of their procedure, he also said that it was early in the morning, there was no indication of a door open or a window open, and after searching the neighborhood, they were unable to find him, and that's what drove them to search inside the home. He said he was unsure whether Troy got in there on his own, but once they figured that part out, they would do an update. And that Jermaine and Tiffany Thomas were the only ones in the home at the time, and that Troy has no siblings. He said he wasn't going to comment on whether he thought there was foul play. He wouldn't comment on whether there was water in the washing machine. Couldn't comment on whether he believed it was an accident because it was too early to tell. He also wouldn't comment on trauma done to Troy's body. So he wouldn't deny or confirm if there was trauma found on the 7-year-old. And he said that's because the medical examiner's office hasn't done an autopsy. And once they have a body on the scene, they don't touch anything. They try to tiptoe lightly and not leave any kind of trace evidence or any kind of contamination on the crime scene. One of the reporters asked how they discovered Troy was missing in the first place. And he wasn't very clear on that, said that they didn't really have all the information. He said he didn't know if either she came home from work or someone in the house woke up, but that she was still wearing a work uniform, and they haven't determined if she was at home or if she was just getting ready for work. But I did find this, and it was a tweet. It says, "Just say y'all killed the boy because your story stinks." And this woman comes back and she says, "The mom was at work with me all night." All right. Someone replied back to her and said, "Thank you, Sarah. The moon is my first cousin. Her dad and my mom are twins. She would never hurt a fly." And then someone asked that guy, "Stephen, who was supposed to be watching him? Someone is 100% responsible for his care." The detective then again said he wasn't even sure how they figured out Troy was missing. He also said he couldn't comment on whether he was found in the same blue shirt that he was listed as being missing in, but he was dressed. He said it was a top-load washer. He did confirm that. And someone asked him, a reporter asked him, if the child could have suffocated in there or if he would have drowned. The detective said he was waiting on the medical examiner for the time of death. The autopsy will tell whether he was killed by the washer or killed and then placed in the washer. He also wouldn't comment on whether Troy was hurt, and he wouldn't comment on whether the lid was down. Now, I am going to play the press conference at the end of this, but I'm just trying to summarize it as best I can so we can go through this and go through a timeline. So, roughly 4 o'clock, Troy's missing. 5:20 is when they called the police. So an hour and 20 minutes later, roughly, is when they called the police to report Troy missing. Constables respond, canvass that neighborhood, didn't find him, search in the house, find him in the washer. They called the sheriff's homicide unit. The parents were then separated, taken down to the police station, brought back home. They were not charged. Now, this is where I'm getting kind of hung up, and I want to explain this. I'm getting hung up because, and I'll play that interview again, or I'll just link the video where I've already shown the father, Jermaine Thomas's interview, short interview that he did with the news media outside of the home. And what he said was that he roughly got home around close to midnight. When he went to stick his key in the door just opened. So that was when he got off from work. So my thing is, if he got off from work at midnight, who was with the child? If this woman is telling the truth and she says the mom was with her all night at work, who was with Troy Khoeler babysitting him while these people were at work? That's where it's getting fuzzy to me. I'm not understanding that part. So that's where we're at right now with this case. They've not done another update. I'm assuming that they are waiting on the medical examiner to answer some questions that they have before they can really come out and say anything else. So I just wanted to do this full update and kind of lay out a timeline so that we can all follow along, because something's not adding up here with the time at that he got off from work, and they're saying she worked all night. So something's not right here. I can't put my finger on it, but it seems to be a childcare issue as far as I'm concerned right now. But his interview was shady, man. His interview was shady, and I can't help but think that. He was very shady in his interview, not making eye contact. That all matters. Granted, yes, I know they're traumatized. But regardless, if I came home and my door opened before I could even get my key in, I would be screaming, somebody got in my house. You know what I mean? I can't pass judgment on him, but at the same time, I want to, because something just doesn't sound right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and play the police press conference. It's very short. And you guys take a listen and see what you think, and let me know in the comments. And I promise I'm going to continue to follow this case, because something just smells off to me, guys. I can't help it. We've seen too many times where a child has ended up fatally injured and the parents are to blame. And unfortunately, that's why the parents are always the first people to be looked at. So I'm going to end the story on that note. I'm going to cut to the press conference, and just let me know what you guys think in the comments. Have a great weekend.
At approximately 5:20, responded to a missing person call at that address. The homeowners advised their 7-year-old son was missing. Further investigation revealed the child had possibly been missing since 4 a.m. They called in at about 5:20 for police after they couldn't find him. Constables got here, did a brief interview for the missing person report, and things that they observed are cause that led them to search the house thoroughly. At that point, they found a deceased 7-year-old child in the washing machine in the garage. At that point, the house was secured and the Sheriff's Office homicide unit was called, and that's when we responded. The parents have been separated and detained, which is standard procedure, and they'll be taken down to our office downtown for a further interview. What little information we have is the child was a foster child initially and was possibly adopted in 2019. We haven't officially confirmed that, but that's what we're told. Not a lot of history at the house or anything like that we can find. It's a very open and active investigation. We don't know what happened, but we intend to find out. And any questions?
You said that there were signs that led y'all to search the house. What was that?
That wasn't us. That was the constables. Our investigators are talking with the deputies now, just to see. I think it may have just been part of standard police procedure. You know, it was early in the morning. There was no indication that the door had been open or window open. And after searching the neighborhood, they were unable to find the child. So the next logical step, I believe, was just to search the house.
Do they believe that he got in there himself?
We're not at that point yet. We'll definitely have an update for you maybe later today about the details of the case.
Who all was at the house?
Just the mother and father of the child.
Any siblings?
No other siblings that we know of.
Any signs of, was there
Foul play.
any signs of foul play?
I can't comment on that at this time.
Was there water in the washing machine?
I can't comment on that at this time.
Anybody under arrest?
No. It's just part of a routine death investigation where we try to get people away from the scene and take them to our office to a better environment. It's obviously a traumatic situation for the family and anybody involved, and it's just more conducive to get them away from the house.
Do you believe this was an accident or
I can't comment or give an opinion at this point. It's just too early.
Two questions. So was there serious trauma on the boy's body that you guys could tell right away something was wrong? Or this might be possibly foul play or anything like that?
We're going to have to wait on the medical examiner's office. As part of our procedures and state law, we don't touch or move the bodies. So can't comment on that at this time.
The woman that was seen crying just now, is that the homeowner / mom?
Yes.
Did she just find out what happened? Were the parents aware of what?
No, they've been aware for since the body was found at approximately 7:20.
how did they discover him missing and then go and call 911?
Not sure. Either she came home from work or someone in the house woke up. She's wearing a work uniform. We still haven't determined whether she was at home or just got home or was getting ready for work. Just due to the volatility of the situation, we haven't even gotten that far into the interview yet.
So you're not even sure how the parents figured out their little boy was missing?
No. The constables were here for quite a while taking the report and getting clothing descriptions and getting ready to start canvassing the neighborhood, driving patrols around the neighborhood. Didn't find anything, and then decided to search the house just in case the kid was in the house.
Was
Could
the
the
boy
boy-
found in the same blue shirt he was reported missing in?
Can't comment on that, but he was dressed.
Could the boy have gotten into, is it easy access from his room to the
That's a
laundry?
top-load washing machine. Based on my observations of the scene, he could have, but we just don't know yet.
How long do you think he was inside the washing machine?
We're going to have to wait on the medical examiner to try to get a rough time of death on that. We just don't know right now. We try to tread lightly inside so crime scene can do their job, and there's very little transfer of evidence or removal of evidence from the scene.
Will there be any?
How did the child die in a washing machine? Is it from suffocation, from
It's just too early to tell. The autopsy will tell that whether he was killed by the washing machine or killed and placed in. I mean, we're just so far from that. I can't comment.
But there's no
any
blood.
notification to the biological parents?
No what?
Any notification to the biological parents?
Not at this time. No, like I said, he was possibly adopted in 2019. We don't even know if we'll have access to those records, depending on the disclosure agreements they had during the adoption.
Detective, there's no evidence around to say that the boy was hurt.
I can't comment on that at this time.
So you said it's a top lid washing machine. I'm assuming the lid was closed. And
I can't comment on that. I'm sorry.
All right. Get up.